This is Route 504 in Washington, and I'm headed east on a beautiful ride to Mount Saint Helens on my 2017 Triumph Bonneville T120 Black. But it doesn't matter what I'm riding or where I'm going. The common bond we all share as motorcyclists goes way beyond the brand of our bikes or the roads we're riding. The common bond we share shows itself in a lot of different ways, and it's hard to describe to folks who don't ride. Whenever I'm out, I'm always greeted with a wave by other riders. This is one of the more public displays of the bond we share, and it's something the rest of the world sees. I get asked a lot by friends, why do you guys wave to each other when you pass on the road? My explanation is, it's both tradition and camaraderie. It's tradition because we've done it like this since forever. It's just something we do, most of the time not even thinking twice about it. It's camaraderie because it's a signal from one rider to another that, yeah, I understand exactly where you are right now, and it's a wonderful place to be. It says, hey, I've got your back. It's a funny thing. Over the past few weeks, I've stopped along the side of the road a bunch of times to fix a camera or get a snack or whatever. And a whole bunch of times, either another rider or a driver who's almost definitely another rider stopped to see if I needed anything. Twice I've had police officers stop to check if things were okay. I got the sense that they'd rather be on their bikes than in a patrol car. Back in the 60s, Honda introduced a famous marketing slogan in the US. You meet the nicest people on a Honda. Nowadays, it doesn't matter if you're on a Honda, a Triumph, a Suzuki, or a Harley. If you ride, you will meet some of the nicest, most interesting people that exist. The bond between riders is undeniable, but where does it really come from? Obviously, the bond exists because of a shared experience, but that shared experience is deeper than you might think. Riders have a pretty universal habit of falling head over heels in love with their machines. It's something that's difficult to put into words, especially when trying to explain it to a non-rider. But that deep love we have for our bikes is something pretty unique to riding culture, and it's a bonding point. When I see another rider just standing there looking at their motorcycle or taking pictures of it or gently picking bugs off of it, I don't find it odd. I find it heartwarming. I know what it feels like, and I'm totally here for it. My first and only instinct is to run over and tell them how beautiful their bike is. And sometimes I do, but sometimes I don't want to interrupt the moment. But it's still deeper than that. If you're a rider, you've made a choice and you have skin in the game. It's not something that one normally does half-heartedly. Most of us are all in, and that means a few things. First, it means we consciously choose to spend time away from our loved ones, unless they ride too, to pursue happiness by ourselves or with other riders. We have lives that exist in parallel to the lives we share with family, friends, and coworkers. And when we're not in our riding lives, we probably talk too much about motorcycles. That's just the way it is. Also, fulfilling our passion for riding comes with risks that are, no matter how hard it is to accept, selfish. We put a lot on the line every time we ride, and this can be difficult for others to understand. But it's not difficult for us to understand, and it's a burden we as riders bear together. It's a thing we don't have to feel guilty about at all when we're together, because we know why the reward is worth the risk. Sharing a common bond as riders doesn't mean we're in some fancy club or anything like that. It means we share a passion and a responsibility. A responsibility to help each other, support each other, and band together to keep our riding culture alive and healthy. I can't tell you the number of folks I've met on my motorcycle and on my Vespa. I can tell you that I can't think of a single negative experience. Sure, there have been interactions that have left me scratching my head, but for the most part, I've met the nicest people on my Triumph and on my scooter. The two guys you just saw pulling out ahead of me were probably 20 years my senior, a little rough around the edges, and quite honestly, I didn't think they'd give me the time of day. But I spent a good 15 minutes chatting with them about everything from their bikes to my bike to the volcano just off to our southeast to whatever else. Another 5 minutes and they probably would have invited me over for dinner. Today, the day after I took this trip to Mount Saint Helens, I had a few similar experiences. Walking into a grocery store, I noticed a Bonneville T120 Black, just like mine, parked off to the side. When I made my way into the store, there was a guy standing there holding a helmet. I was holding mine. We immediately smiled at each other, and all I had to say was, "Do you love it?" And we were off, talking about Triumph motorcycles. Later on, I rolled up to a favorite spot of mine along the Columbia River. Before I even got my helmet off, I heard the distinct rumbling of a Harley pulling up behind me. I spent maybe half an hour talking to this guy, telling him how I hope to own a Sportster someday like his. We compared notes about near misses, his one big crash, how motorcycling gets him out of the house and out of trouble, and all of the normal stuff riders talk about. I rode away with a huge smile on my face. I'm normally not one to spark up conversations out of nowhere, but when I'm with my motorcycle, I can't help myself. If you're new to riding, you will not find a more welcoming, supportive group of people than the motorcycle community. You will be welcomed in regardless of who you are or what you ride. This is a great road to ride. It's Highway 504, also called the Spirit Lake Highway. It runs from Castle Rock to the north side of Mount Saint Helens. Some of this road is closed right now because of a huge landslide that happened back in May of last year. But you can get close enough to the mountain to feel awestruck. Normally, this road would be filled with other riders, but it's early in the riding season and a bit chilly. Still, folks are out riding, and to a person, each offered a wave as we passed. The folks out riding on this day weren't tearing up the twisties or scraping pegs. They, like me, were out there to enjoy this beautiful land, this amazing scenery, and the crisp, clean air that this area affords. To be honest, I wish I had gone with some other riders. There's something about sharing an experience like this that makes it all the more special. But on the other hand, it sure was nice to be alone with my bike, stopping and starting whenever I wanted to, and knowing full well that if something went wrong, someone would roll up to help. That's how it is on a motorcycle. That's how it is in this community, and that's the common bond we all share. We might go alone, or we might go with friends. It doesn't matter because, no matter what, you've got friends on the road.